friends, today we have as our visitor for Science Fair Talk, Mr. Michael Odzer. Thank you to your audience. Well, Mr. Odzer, first we want to welcome you to Highland Oaks Middle School, 5th period biology class. We have some questions that we took from the students in class, and we'll begin with them right away. Why were you interested? What made you interested in the science fair to begin with?
Well, science fair is extremely interesting because your project, whatever you do, your project can actually have a big influence and impact on society as a whole, or even the world. Like, for example, I do a lot of environmental projects, and they can have a huge impact on the environment. And as you may know, the environment, right now, there are many troubles such as global warming and climate change. So my projects, I look to find projects that can have an influence regarding these aspects.
So they're timely as far as like the affairs of the world. Perfect. When was your, talk to us about your first science fair experience.
So my first science fair experience was in 6th grade. I believe I did a project on the allelopathic effect of Australian pine trees on plant growth, which was basically Australian pines, their needles, they leach toxins into the soil, which is why when you see them around, you often don't see plants or weeds growing or grass growing around them, because these toxins actually kill all these other plants, and that's how Australian pine trees thrive and spread.
Yeah, that's right. So, and we're talking about that. That would have to do with evolution characteristics that species have, giving them an advantage. All right, they're eliminating competition. Outstanding. Now, what has been your favorite science fair project?
My favorite science fair project would probably be the one I did last year, which was I compared predator-prey relationships in coral reef environments in the Caribbean using this technology known as BRUVs, which stands for Beta Remote Underwater Video Surveys. And so these cameras were basically cameras that were placed underwater, and in each video I surveyed these 5 different prey fish, or no, these 5 different predatorial fish. That I surveyed how many were in each video in each different area, because I took it in these 4 different areas. 2 were protected and 2 non-protected. So I was looking at protection versus non-protection to see which tends to have the most fish, because these are often fished. Like, these fish are often fished out of the oceans.
Outstanding. All right, so how do you come up with your ideas, like problem statements? That's something that, some students have a difficulty with.
Yeah, many students have a difficulty with this. The best way would be to look around, look at what other researchers are doing at places such as FIU or Nova Southeastern, and see if you could try to talk to these researchers and see if you could get some of their information, maybe like of the research that they're doing, some of their data, see if you could work with them to develop a project, or just you can see what they're doing and use these ideas to create your own project for the fair.
Fantastic. So mimicking whatever other people are doing, leading researchers, and piggyback on them. How long to make a good science fair project? What do you think it would take?
Well, I mean, this could vary. I mean, if you're doing the whole project, you're gathering the data, doing the whole experiment, everything. Well, I mean, it really depends what you're experimenting on. I mean, if you're experimenting on plant growth, it might take longer than doing something that doesn't require time for the plants to grow, or it might take even longer to do certain transects of different things, like video surveys where the videos are like an hour long and you have to watch.
Please pardon this interruption. Amaya Harris, please report to the main office. Thank you.
All right. So how do you think the science fair will benefit you in your life and your goals, what you want to do? How does this benefit you?
Well, I think it will greatly benefit my understanding of the scientific and research world. And especially when you go to places like International Science Fair, you see all the other projects around you, and it's amazing. You gain experience from that. You see, you learn so much more about the world and research that's happening all around the planet.
All right. From the field, we had somebody ask, "Are you a procrastinator? Do you procrastinate?"
Most of the time I do not procrastinate. I try to get my work done as soon as possible because then I don't have to worry about it. And I definitely won't forget about it. If I know an assignment is due or I need to have science fair done in a month or two, I'm gonna start immediately, try to get it done as quick as possible. That way when a month or two comes, I don't find myself stuck still doing it or haven't done it yet.
Yeah, usually science fairs, I mean, they're pretty hard deadlines when it comes, especially in the competition. I mean, you get there, the next day, you're out of gas. All right, so are you getting community service hours for this?
For this talk?
Have you been forced to come here and talk to students?
No, I have not been forced to come here. I did this voluntarily on my own. And things like this that you do in high school can qualify for community service, yes.
All right. Is there anybody in your immediate family who is at the same level of science fair that you are or beyond?
Well, I have two sisters and they're both in college, but when they were in middle school and high school, they did science fair just like me. So far I've gone. Neither of them went to state science fair in 6th grade, but I did, and I went in 7th and 8th and 9th grade too. And I went to international in 9th grade, and I believe one of them went in 9th grade, but they both went to international. I think one went 1 year or 2 years, the other one went 2 or 3 years. So I'm not sure yet.
Lies, Nicole! All right. Actually, yes, Michael does come from a long line of science fair extraordinaire people. I had the privilege of teaching his sister Nicole. I actually have an asteroid that's flying around the solar system with my name on it. Hopefully one day Julio Miguez won't destroy the world, and as it crashes into Earth. And it was because Nicole, that was one of the prizes at that time, was the Broadcom. One of the prizes for Broadcom was we got to name, an asteroid. So there's one in her name, and then her science teacher at that year also got it named. So I got one named after me because of her. So it's just, this is like their thing. This is like what they're into. I mean, some people are into sports. Some people are into like fishing or hunting. The Odzer family, they're into science fair. All things science fair. And that's what makes it, so unique and certainly gives him the ability. And I think that's what he's trying to do here by coming here and visiting us, is to impart, some of the wisdom and knowledge he knows because of, his sisters being in competition and passing that on to him. I think that's what he's trying to do, pass that on to us as well. So please, let's give him a round. Thank you for coming, sir.